Hello, my name's Parm King. I'm the Dungeon Master for Legends of Barovia, a Curse of Strahd campaign, and I've been making some DM tips on using Foundry, as well as some of the stuff that I'm doing in Curse of Strahd. I've had several requests on how exactly did I make some of the Theater of the Mind maps, what modules did I use, and would I go through and make a couple of them and explain exactly what I did, because there's some settings in there that I didn't really go over in the first one. I'm going to make four Theater of the Mind maps, each one different with some different settings. But first, let me show you what a lot of people have been asking for, is what modules am I using? And so I've only selected the modules that I'm going to be using for the Theater of the Mind maps so that you can see them here. So I'm going to click on modules here, and the first module you're going to need is Dancing Lights by Blitz. This is the one that creates the flickering of the fire or the fading of the light. The next module is FXMaster. This one is the one that does the crows, as well as these other different special effects, the fog, the clouds. Lootsheet NPC 5e. This module allows you to create a shopkeeper, which we will be doing. And the last one I like to use is Grid Scale Menu. This allows you to rescale the map and the grid in a far simpler way. So those four modules are the modules you're going to need to make these four Theater of the Mind maps that we're going to do here today. The first Theater of the Mind map that I'm going to create is a bridge scene. This is a static image that I found on the internet. It's one that I am using in Curse of Strahd as our players are leaving the village of Barovia and heading to the Tesser pools. We're just going to name this one Bridge. And I'm going to find the picture, there it is, Stone Bridge, and select it, and save changes, and we now have our bridge here. So if we look at the bridge, the first thing that comes up is you see this grid scaling, and what I like to do is increase the grids as big as I can so that my characters can fit in there and I have enough room for the amount of characters in my campaign. Usually I like to have about 8 to 9 grid squares down below. Not that I have 8 to 9 players in the campaign, but if there happens to be an NPC or something else traveling with them, it gives them a little room at the bottom. This is really also important if you want to set up marching orders. You can use this as a marching order methodology in Theater of the Mind. In order to do this, we're going to right click and click Configuration on Bridge, and we're going to use the grid, this button over here that's going to pick up your grid scaling. And if we use the Alt in the mouse wheel here, you'll see that I'm going to expand the grid. Let's see here, I'm just wheeling it up. I don't know how much it's going to be. It looks like about, let's say at 200, and let's count them really quickly here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's perfect, exactly what I need. What we want to do though, however, is just get this grid over a little bit and kind of line it up. Let's try to raise that grid by 20, see if that works. No, that's a little bit too much. This is the one little area that I'm always kind of fiddling with. Let's make this 10. No, 20, let's say 40. There we go. Let's say 50. What I'm trying to do is just get this bottom part close, but not exactly on the line. You want your characters to fit in there. And so what I've done here is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 solid ones in the middle. I'm going to move this over a little bit to the right or left to try to get this one in here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Move it over just a little bit to center it. I feel pretty good about that. We're going to commit changes and just close this. And now we're going to do our lines around this. You can still see the lines. I like to leave the lines in here when I'm drawing the borders on here. It just makes it really easy, especially for the glass wall. And I like to leave a little space at the bottom and kind of have half a squares on the side so that I have a little fudge room when I draw this. This is pretty simple to do. We're going to go to click on the wall drawing over here, and you're going to use the top one, which is the solid walls, to go all the way around the outside. So I'm going to just click up here in the corner and draw all the way down. I'm going to hold Control and move all the way over to this edge, up to the top, this edge, and over here. Now, of course, if you make any mistakes, you can move these around, clean it up a little bit. The next one that you're going to use is you're going to use the glass wall. This is to keep your players from moving all over the screen, but allows them to see everything on your Theater of the Mind screen. So I'm going to create the glass wall. That's the eye with the line through it. And we're going to go just above the top line here and just go straight across. So there we go. And pretty much your walling is done at this point. We're going to just drag a character over here right now. I have a test character, Flynn Fipplebottom. He's actually a character I use in one of the games I'm playing. And we want our characters to kind of fit within the screen here. Actually, he's kind of small, so I'm going to delete him and bring in a bigger character. He's a, let's grab over Herhan here. He's kind of a larger character. There we go. So now you can see your characters. They can move, but they can't go up and down. They can only move side to side. And you want to do this for two reasons. Number one, they're characters on the map. If they need to access their character sheet or do anything like that, it's right on the map. They can see their characters. You can create marching orders. Now, let's make this map a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more exciting with some lighting and some of the special effects of the fog. But before we do that, we want to change a couple of things in the configuration of the scene. So we're going to right click and hit configure up here. The first thing we want to do is I like to have a color of the outside background. I don't like the gray. You don't have to do this, it's not necessary. I see a little bit of kind of reddish tones, it's kind of sunset, so I'm going to use kind of an orangish, darkerish color like this. I'm also going to get rid of the grids by taking the opacity down to 0. Now, I'm going to leave fog and token vision on because I want to really create a dark scene here. If I get rid of the fog exploration and token vision, my lighting is not really enhanced. And this is kind of an evening scene. I'm going to make a separate video about some lighting stuff that I've noticed in here and some fog of war things that I think are little tips. I'll make that in a separate video. But for right now, I'm just keeping these two on. I'm saving this here. And now you can see I've got a different background color. It kind of fits within this kind of fall sunset scene. I've got the grids gone, and now we're going to add some lighting. And this is just something kind of fun to do. And this is just going to be static lighting, but I want to have this to be a sun over here. It kind of show up on the map a little bit. So I'm going to create a sun about that big, and I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to get rid of the dim radius. Just zero that out. I want the bright radius, and I want this sun to be, kind of a setting sun. I want it to be kind of orange here. Let's see. That's a good color. And I don't want it illuminating everywhere. I just want it illuminating because it's not illuminating down into the mountains. I want it to be, looks like it's in a distance. And so let's take a look at this angle here. This is about what? Not necessarily 90 degrees. So I'm going to guess 130. Probably not that correct. Let's see if I screw that up. Uh-oh, it's upside down. Okay, so I got to correct that. It's upside down. I'm going to reverse it 180 degrees. And let's see if I've nailed that. Nope, there's still a little bit of angle on both sides. So I'm going to make it a little bit wider. Let's go with 150. Update that. That looks just about right. So let's see how it looks from the character's perspective. Okay, I gotta go in here and make sure in the character. Oh, you know what I don't have on my character? Duh. I gotta put on token vision, and I'm gonna give him dim vision of about 60 here and update that. There we go. So you can see by putting on the token vision, now I've created this sun. Actually, I just created an angle of illumination, got rid of the dim lighting, and just had the sun there. And this creates kind of this, it's nighttime, the sun is starting to set. And so now you're creating some atmosphere for your Theater of the Mind map. But we want to introduce a little special effects here. So I'm going to click on this. This is the FX module here. You can see it's brought up features. We're going to go to the second one, which is the cloud module. Now, FX module is awesome, But there's two interesting effects in here. One is fog, which you normally would think that you would want to use in a Theater of the Mind map. The other one's clouds. And I find that fog works really good on the battle maps from the top down. But if you want to create a fog kind of atmosphere and give your Theater of the Mind some more atmosphere, I think the cloud effect is better. So we're going to click on cloud effect. And the one thing about cloud effect on here is we want the clouds to move this way, not coming straight down on us. And after messing around with this, I realized that about between dead center and to the edges, about a quarter on either way is sideways direction. And I think if I go a quarter to the left, it's going to bring my clouds from the left, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to click that right here. I'm going to save changes, and I'm going to click on my character and see what we got. Okay, almost. So you can see the clouds are now coming kind of downwards, but I want them to move kind of more this direction. So I'm going to click back on my cloud effect again, and I'm going to try to move it over just a little bit. Maybe it's a third, I don't remember. It's a little finicky. So let's try it again here with our character. Yeah, there we go. So now the clouds are moving the kind of way that I have it. I've got this great scene. The sun is starting to set. There's a little bit of fog and mist in there, and you've kind of created this really kind of fun atmosphere. I can clean up a little bit my sun. It can see it's kind of coming over the mountains there, but I think you guys get the idea. Now, the last thing I like to do, and this is about music, and this is something that was frustrating me because I didn't know how to use it properly. When you're using your sounds in there, you have a playlist, you have ambient and interface. I figured out the best way to use ambient, in my personal opinion, is use the music icon over here on the left, click in the center of the map, just drag it all the way out, and now we're going to make it a global sound. I'm going to click on my audio path. I'm going to go to my music folder. Let's find that. Here we go. I've got one called Woods, and I'm just going to use this wood sound here. Select it, update, and now this is my character's experience. You should start being able to hear. Let me see if I have the volume on here. I don't know if you can hear that. Well, perhaps you're able to hear it for some reason. Oh, you know what? I turned my sound off to my headset, so let me just turn that back on. I was playing last night. So here we go. There we go. So now you've got a little bit of sound background, you've got your fog, you've got your sun setting. We've created a really simple Theater of the Mind map from a static map. Let's do another one. We're going to do this one, this time indoors. We're going to use the dancing light, dynamic lighting, and we're going to create a tavern scene. Oh, by the way, one thing I like to use with these Theater of the Mind maps is this is where I can drag in a character from the village of Barovia, let's say it's Mad Mary and she's just running across the bridge. I would just drag her over here on the bridge, and now you can have an interaction with a character here in the game. I'd like to use my NPCs up in the Theater of the Mind area, and this is just, you've created a great way of telling a story as the Dungeon Master. Your players are getting the similar frame of reference. That's important. Everybody's seeing the same thing, so you don't have to get into a lot of the nitty-gritty details about how wide this dome bridge is or how many trees there are. They're all seeing that, and you can really jump into the narrative of the story, the action of the story, which I prefer to do. So let's go to the next and make another one of these things. I enjoy making these things, so if you like the first one, go ahead and click like right now in this video. If you didn't like it, stay tuned and we'll make another one right now. This will be an indoor tavern. So I'm going to create a scene for the indoor tavern. I'm going to call this one Tavern. Tavern. By the way, I'm a horrible speller. And I'm clicking on, let's go, we got to find our image that we're going to use for this one. Images. Oh, you know what? I think I put this one in maps. Taverns. We're going to use this one here. Select and scroll down. Save. And here is our tavern map. Again, this is just an image from the internet. This is a static image, but we're going to give it some atmosphere, some sound, some scenes. The first thing again that we're going to do when we bring up the tavern map here is we are going to configure it to make our grid size. So we're going to click on the grid size. We're going to scroll our grid up holding the Alt, and I'm spinning the wheel and making this grid as big until I can visually see it where I'm satisfied. So I've got about, I don't know, 8 squares. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's shrink it down a little bit. You can use it for 6 squares, however you many. I have 6 in my party and sometimes an NPC, so I prefer 8 squares. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's about perfect. Let's just line this up a little bit. See if I did that right. That's a little too far. Let's try this. Boy, I'm not doing too well at this, am I? Let's make this 50. Let's go to 60. All right. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm just going to move it over a little bit here to line those squares up on the edge. Maybe do it 30. Okay. So I'm going to commit my changes here, and we're going to draw the lines. I can barely see the gray lines right in here, but just enough for me to draw them. I can get my character in there okay. Let's just grab my character. Does he fit in here? Okay, yeah, he looks fine. And so we're not going to go to put the walls in really quickly. And again, I'll do this as quick as I can. I'm not the best wall drawer, but we'll give it a go. Control, click, control, click, control, click. Now you can go ahead and clean this up. I'm just doing this quick for the benefit of you. Here's we want to be just above the line over there, so we don't have any problems when we drop our characters in here. And our walls are now done. So we have our character in here. This is what it looks like, but we want to give this some dynamic lighting. And this is where the dancing light's going to come into effect. Hold on, my foot's asleep. Okay, boom, dynamic lighting. So we're going to click on lighting here, and I'm going to go over the candles in the fireplace. So I'm going to go over each candle. I'm gonna whip it open just a little bit here. That's a good candle brightness there. I'm gonna put one back here, make it a little smaller. This one up here at the top. And this one here. I'm gonna make the fire pretty big. And maybe I'll put a little one right over here. And a little one right over here. And so now you've got your light sources and kind of the dim and bright light. I'm going to click on this one here, and the first thing I'm going to go down is I'm going to turn on Enable Dancing Lighting. I like to enable blur and dim blur. And then the dancing light I select is fire. And this one right here, my dim color, I like to go into the little bit oranger area and make this maybe a little bit lighter. And I'm going to do this pretty much for every one. It's just, that's it. Now, there's a faster way to do this, and I'll show you right now. So I'm going to just delete these up here. Let's say you like the color of this, and I'll just show you how this works. So you don't have to reset every one of them. So I'm going to click on my character. Okay. Oh, I'm going to make sure the configuration in here is correct. Let's get rid of these lines. Let's bring up the darkness level. And save this, and let's see if my character vision is set. No, it's not set again. So let me do the dim vision here, 60. Okay, now you've got this light here, and if you like that light source, let's also bring up the darkness level a little bit, 25, to create this atmosphere. It's not as dark. There you go. Now this might be a little too dark for you, so what you can do is you can go back to lights, and you're going to go, hey, that's a little bit too dark for me. I want this a little brighter, so I'm going to bring up my bright light to here, maybe make it even a little bit more yellowy, and I'm going to do my dim light just a little bit brighter. I'm going to bring it up to here. This really depends on the atmosphere that you want. Once you get your light down, and then just click on your character again and see, okay, oh, I really like this light. It's looking perfect for me. You click on this, and you hit Control-C like you're going to copy it. It'll tell you up here you've copied one ambient light source, and you're just going to click on the map. Put your arrow where you want them,
And now they're going to be all the wrong sizes, but that's a lot easier to fix if once you like the light. So I've got 3 of them up here. Once you have them, you can drag them around the map a little bit, saying, oh, I want this one a little bit more over here. I want this one towards the ceiling. I want this one over here. And there's one that's off the map. I'm going to put that one right here. And now you click on each one of these and say, hey, I want the bright radius is 1, and the dim radius is 3 or 2, let's say, on this one. And you just go down here and update it. And so what's going to happen is every one of your lights is going to have kind of the same color. If you like the color, this is the fastest way, in my opinion, to do it. So all you have to do is just reset. Dim radius, we're going to make this one 3 and make this one 1, because that's a far away. The farther away, I like to make the radiuses smaller. This one on the ceiling is kind of big, so I'm going to keep this one maybe up at 4 and 2. Then you can have them overlap. If you want to change the color on a couple of them, sure. These things are okay, I think, for right now. So let's just take a look at it from the character's perspective and see how this looks now. So now you've got, some flickering light in the background over here, up here at the top. This one over here is flickering a little bit. And so you've got this lighting effect here that you kind of like. Again, change the darkness and the lighting level that you like, but our fireplace isn't doing what we need it to do. So let's go over to our fireplace and let's turn on the enable dancing lights, the dim blur, the enable blur. We're going to select fire, and we're going to get this one and dim. We're going to make this more red or orange. Sorry, we're going to make this more of a darker orange. And the brighter firelight, we're going to make it a little bit yellowy. And you can change the fire. How much does a fire flicker? You can change this too if you want. We're going to make it like this. And you have your minimum fade and radius movement and all that kind of stuff. The dim will also move around the fire amount. I'll just leave that off. And let's make the dim radius bigger because it's kind of enveloping the room. So we're going to put this up to about 20 and see what that looks like for us. Okay, boom. And now let's take a look at our character and see what this atmosphere feels like. So are we happy with the atmosphere? Yeah, we got some lights, candles flickering. The fireplace is kind of roaring there a little bit. I like everything about this, but let's do one more thing here. We need some sound. I think there might be one more thing that we want to do on lighting. We're going to do another special effect here. We're going to add a special effect here. And this one up here is called Embers. And what we're doing is there's a little bit of sparks maybe coming out of the fireplace. It creates a little bit more of an atmosphere. Let's take a look at how these embers look. We're going to click on our character. Yeah, you can see a couple little dots. I don't know if the resolution in the video is, but there's a couple little orange dots floating around here, kind of coming from the fireplace. And it's creating a little bit of atmosphere. The next thing we want to do is get some sound in here. This has got to be a tavern, right? So let's get some sound. Again, click on Global Sound. We're going to pick our tavern music. So we're going to go up to our music folder and find music. Ambient, I think I have, well, my folder on my computer is different than the folder in here. Okay, than on my Forge. Okay, now let's listen to this whole thing and feel the atmosphere. Do we have the sound going? Yep. I can go ahead and hear the sound of the fireplace in the background. I'm going to turn that up. I don't know if you guys can hear it, so I'm going to turn it up for you guys. But now we have the fireplace going. There's some clinking of some glasses, some lighting and firing effect. And again, this is where you're going to go ahead and you're going to drag in your characters. For instance, this is, if you're in Strahd, maybe you're meeting Ismark here for the first time, you can drag them in here. Again, set your dynamic lighting how you want it, if you want it brighter or not as bright. In the brightness level, you're a director as the dungeon master, and so you're creating this theater of the mind scene, and I like to think about it as a director. Where do I want my lighting? How dark do I want it? what's the sound of the atmosphere, because this is the background, the atmosphere, the picture, what they're hearing as you're telling the story to them, and it really kind of helps pull your players into the game. We're going to do one with the loot sheet. I'm going to create a storekeeper. So let's create another scene. This scene is going to be the merchant, a shop. We're going to find our picture here. By the way, if you like my tavern, now's the time to click like. And if you didn't like the first two, I'm going to give you a third one. Maybe you'll like the video then. So here we go. We're going to get to, let's see, maps again. And I think this one is going to be in Village of Barovia. And there it is. I'm right on top of it. So we've got our picture. We're going to save it. There we go. We're going to click on this one here. And here's our merchant place. It's a nice picture, found it again on the internet. You know, one of the things to do, just go on Google, and what I found, one of the search terms I like to use is I'll type in like shop, and then I'll type in fantasy. And just putting in the word fantasy, you're going to get tons of pictures. So like tavern fantasy, shop fantasy, castle fantasy, bedroom fantasy, and you're going to get a ton of photos to select from. And since you're just using this for you and a couple of your players in your own game, it's fine to use some pictures off of Google image search. So let me go ahead, and we're going to do exactly what we did in all the other ones. The first thing I'm going to do is configure. I'm going to go ahead and look at my grids here, and you can also, by the way, change the scale of your background image. So if you have a small image and you want to scale it up a little bit, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pictures already in the background. So I'm just gonna, I don't even have to scale this that much. I'm just gonna try to move this over. Whoop. I'm gonna try to move this up 1. Maybe I should do it 10. Nope, I'm going the wrong way. Let me go negative 5. There we go. And I'm just gonna move this over, let's say 50. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares in the bottom. I'm going to commit to those changes. We're going to close this. I'm going to do my walls again really quickly. Here's my solid walls. Boom. 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 I'm holding the control key while I'm clicking, by the way, so I can just keep on going with it. This is not exactly good, so you know, it's good enough, I guess, for government work, right? Or shits and giggles. Okay, I'm going to do the glass wall just above this line here. Okay, and so my map's pretty done. I'm just going to drag over a character. Again, we've been using Huron. He's one of the characters in our current game. We popped him in there. He fits in there well. So we're going to go back to the configuration settings. We're going to change the background color. Again, you know how much I hate those current background chain colors. I'm going to make this one pretty much black. You know, it's pretty dark. I'm going to get rid of the grid opacity. Take that so it's 0. Save changes, and there we go. We can zoom in now. Now, we want some lighting in here, right? And we've got this nice light source. So we're going to grab some light. I'm going to pull this light, and I'm going to kind of envelop the entire room. Whoa, that's a little crazy there. I'm going to click on the light source, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the bright radius and keep the dim radius pretty wide. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and use dancing lights again. And in this one, I am going to just try one that I don't normally use, is just fade. I just want it to fade just a little bit, fade in and out. The minimum fade, opacity of light. I'll bring it up. I just want it to fade just a little bit. And let's see how this works out. Let's just give it a try. Okay. And again, I need to, on Huron here, I gotta turn on his vision. I'm gonna do 60 for his dim. And let's see how that's going. So it's just flickering a little bit. You've created some atmosphere. The light's not flickering a lot. It's just kind of, you know, in and out. Maybe you're trying to create a candle type atmosphere. Now we're going to create, with Lootsheet, your merchant. And so we're going to create an actor. and he's going to be, we're going to call him Old Man Shopkeeper. Well, we'll call him something. It's crazy. Call him, I don't know. What do you guys want to call him? Dorkster. Dorkster. We'll call him Dorkster. I don't know why I came up with Dorkster. He's going to be NPC, and you hit create character. There's Dorkster, the shopkeeper. If you don't like his name, you can call him just shopkeeper. And we're going to put a picture in there of him, obviously, and we'll just find some kind of, I think I have some NPCs here. Just find some kind of, oh, these might be crappy NPCs. I'm going to use this old mage photo. There we go. I think that worked out. Maybe it didn't. I don't know why the old mage photo didn't come up. There he is. And I don't have the other tokenizer and the VTT assets turned on, so let me just go in here. See, he's already over here. So we're going to grab Dorkster. Here he is, the shopkeeper. We're just going to drag him over here. So we have the shopkeeper now. And when you open up the shopkeeper, what you're going to want to do is click on Sheets and select the loot sheet. Okay, and that's going to change the shopkeeper to a loot sheet. And what you want to do is you're going to change the type of sheet to a merchant. And you can go ahead and create roll tables for inventory if you want to, or what you can do very easily is you can click on your compodium over here, and I'm just going to click on items from D&D 5e from the SRD and just drag some stuff over in here. So you can just drag this in there. I'm going to have this splint armor in here. I'm going to drag in some arrows +1, barrels, ball bearings, bag of tricks, and pretty soon, as you can see, I'm just dragging this stuff in here, whatever I want my person to have. You can go ahead and update the how many he has. This guy has Berserker Great Axe, and he makes these things out back. This shopkeeper just makes tons of these things, and he has 20 of these. And you can also update the price. You can do a price modifier. It has a scale here if you want to lower the prices by, because maybe you like your characters and they're going to get a big discount. And now everything's lowered by that amount. And what's really nice about this is you just turn on the position. I'm going to turn on Herhan here. He can just click on the character, and when he clicks on it, he's going to see all these things, and there'll be a little thing over here that he clicks. And as long as he has the gold, he'll be able to buy the stuff, and it'll keep track of the inventory. This shopkeeper Lootsheet NPC is going to save you as a dungeon master. You're not going to have to open up items in the compodium and make sure that they lower their gold and figure out what they have. You just preload this thing up, and if you don't even want to deal with that, use the merchant roll table and just have it load up a bunch of stuff for you. I like to preload these up. I'll have 2 or 3 shopkeepers preload up their inventory and throw them into the shop. So you've created a shop. As long as the character has gold, the loot sheet, make sure it's set to merchant, will keep track of not only how many items that it has. As soon as the character purchases an item, it goes in their inventory, and their gold is deducted by that amount. This is a great module to get, and will save you so much time and headache with the shopkeeper. Now, if you didn't like the first Theater of the Mind map, and you didn't like the second, you certainly probably love the third one. So make sure to click like right now, like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to do one more for you. I'm going to do this one because this is one of James RPG Art. Now, James RPG Art has a Patreon page. He does still images and animated images. He's done pretty much all of the Curse of Strahd. He's doing a couple other ones. I don't know James personally. I am a subscriber to his Patreon. It's very, very affordable. $1 or $2, and you have access to all these still photos and animation photos. And now he's adding music to them. I'm going to do one of his because it saves you a lot of time. It really, really updates and really creates a almost a cinematic feel with some animation in there, not just the fog moving around, but some animation. So let me do one of those for you really quick, because I really like those, and I can show you even how much more simpler they are. So we're going to create a scene. This one is going to be the Vistani camp, Vistani camp near the Tresor pool. I'm going to go to the image file now. That's in my assets library, and that's maps, and that's Tresor pool, and it's going to be the Tresor pool one here. Now I did shrink these videos down a little bit because I'm uploading them to a server in here, so it's a little it's not the full animation, it's a little bit shorter, but I just need, you guys got to just see this. This is just really, really cool. So your characters arrive, they're on the edge of the Vistani camp, and if you zoom in closely, this is really cool. I'm going to zoom in right closely. You're going to see he's also animated some people down here by the fire. So you can say, hey, you can see some people by the fire, some Vistani down there. They're maybe sharing a pitcher of wine or something, getting a little shit-faced around the fire. Anyway, again, all you need to do in here is just draw your borders really quick. I'm not going to go in there and rescale it because I've already done that a couple of times. But this one, you don't have to do much. I'm going to hold the control key here. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to do the glass wall right here. And I'm just going to drag in a character. I want to show you something in here that's important in your configuration settings for when you're going to use one of his maps. So when I bring in one of the characters, where's my walkthrough characters? Here he is. And I'm just gonna, you don't even need to worry about the token vision stuff in the distance, because what you're gonna do is in one of his maps, what I just tend to do, because it already has the atmosphere, I'm just gonna change the background, make it dark, and turn off the grid lines. I just turn off Fog of War and don't restrict the token vision. You can even put in global illumination and just save this, because your character, he's already created all the animation, the color, the mooding. You don't have to change the lighting, the dark lighting, the token vision. It's already done. So all you just do is global illumination, put the walls up, and now your character is right there. We're in there. The only thing that's missing, you guessed it, I gotta put the sound in there. Global, and we're gonna put in boom, boom. Let's go to music folder or sounds, and I should have woods, and I should have campfire. And I hit select, update sound. Now I've got a little crazy up here. Where's my guy? There he is. So now you should hear the fire. There's the fireplace. There you are. You're in the Vistani camp in the Tresor pools. Madam's Avis tents close by. So that's it. I've gone through, hopefully I've showed you the modules, the 4 modules, the dancing lights, the FXMaster, the grid tool, and the loot sheet. Those are the 4 that I've used for all of these theater of the mind maps. Those are the only 4 that you actually need. Play around with these things. Please leave a comment down below if you have any questions, suggestions. Happy to answer them. And at this point, I really hope you've clicked like on my video and subscribe to my video. Thanks very much for your time. Until next time, this is Palm King signing out, and may all your rolls be crits. Thanks very much.